Dr. Katz, Public Speaking 1315. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk about Habitat for Humanity, the charity, and what it provides to the community. So I want to start off with demonstrating two hypothetical worlds, one with the presence of Habitat for Humanities, and that is going to be called Harmonia. And then we have another world without Habitat for Humanities, also known as Disparity. These worlds highlight the organization's impact on equitable communities. Okay. So, Habitat for Humanity has an overall positive effect on low-income communities everywhere. It's a strategic community focused on intervention. These interventions can catalyze profound positive change, overcoming disparity and fostering harmonious communities like Harmonia, providing hope and utopia. So first I want to kind of dip into the impact of Habitat for Humanities in the community. So what Habitat for Humanity does is address interconnected housing issues. It promotes holistic development, provides affordable housing, credit access, and community engagement. It also helps in creating a positive feedback loop. So how many people or know of anyone or has ever dealt with organizations like Habitat for Humanities to build credit or to gain housing? Anybody? Okay.
No.
Puka. All right.
Only when they be scammed.
Okay. So for it to be a scam, then I think the scam is based off of an actual.
I know a few scammers.
Right, but we don't want to get off topic into scamming. So usually a scam is based off of something that is an actual organization, and they try to use that to siphon your information. So yeah, we want to stay away from those. But for the most part, we want to talk about like
people that use programs to get houses. Yeah, I know people like
right,
that.
or when they pay for your leasing and stuff like that. Like you already have an apartment, and sometimes they use benefits. Yeah, they have benefit programs that pay for your rent. Yeah, Section 8. Right. So moving on. We want to talk about the world of Harmonia. Okay, so this is a world, we want to talk about what Harmonia means. Harmonia is a world that is most likely a utopia. This is something where everyone is genuinely receiving what they need from the community, right? So, a Harmonia is a thriving community. It's a vibrant future with affordable housing, inclusive policies, and higher ownership rates. So if you imagine that the home ownership rates rise, then obviously homelessness rates decrease. In a utopia where the stress of credit is less prevalent, community centers and local businesses would thrive. The less debt that we have with our homes and rent and things like that and credit issues, the more money that you have to spend at mom and pops, bakeries, or your neighborhood corner stores.
Facts.
So,
Dickies.
right. So, you know, when they're doing these overage or when we're doing inflation within the rent and things like that, that takes away your extra money that you spend on day-to-day expenses and things like that. So next we want to talk about the world of despair, right? So the word of despair, that means basically despair. We want to talk about being uncomfortable, not able to afford things that, you know, the upper class are able to afford. Right.
Yeah,
So, you know what I'm saying?
I done been broke before. That shit tragic.
It is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Yeah,
Right,
you know,
right. Okay, so
I'm broke right now.
Despair is struggling. I'm so sorry. That is very unfortunate. So you can understand that sometimes the demographics of Despair can be rather depressing. You know what I'm saying? It can be very unfortunate and displacing. So Despaire's struggling community introduces severe housing shortages, the displacement of families, entrenching poverty, neglected neighborhoods, and rising homelessness. How many of you guys face disparities based on low credit or not knowing your credit score?
Can you say the question again?
Like, okay, so say you go to apply for an apartment or a car or something like that to lease it, and they tell you that your credit score is not good enough.
I've been there.
You've been there.
I was one of them, but I'm
Right.
way better now.
So with that,
I was at like
I ain't
not the
never
grade.
been to school,
right. So look, so a part of my question was
That's right.
also not knowing your credit score, not even knowing that that's a part of being able to afford
That's a
certain
big
things
thing.
that make it easier on your day-to-day lifestyle.
Yeah.
One
It
time my
is so
credit,
right.
one
It
time
is
my
right.
credit was like 700 something.
What you did? What's my phone?
That's a pretty good credit score.
You can bust my phone.
Nah, I went
Right.
my
I
car.
don't even know what credit
And then I
score
stopped
is.
paying my car notes and my credit
Okay,
card bills.
so he
My
says he
credit card
doesn't know
limit
what a
went
credit
high.
score
I don't even
is.
know what a credit score
Yeah.
is.
So can I explain to this
What?
gentleman what a credit score is? So what a credit score is basically a tally of points based on, which I appreciate this question. A credit score is basically a tally about what things that you pay back on time, and basically a credit is something that you, when you pay for something and you pay it on time, they give you credit in return for that. So it's basically a trust with other organizations that allow you to take their goods and receive basically like an IOU, basically. You know what I'm saying? Based off your credit record.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah, I ain't got one of those.
Yeah. You
Right.
I messed my credit up.
Credit,
Then I lost
credit
my
is
wallet
king
a
right
couple
now,
times.
bro.
So
You don't
yeah,
gotta get
that's
credit.
that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. So yeah, basically we just want to go over the fact that, you know, it is an overall positive effect on the community, and also I do want to go over my visual aid with you guys to kind of get a little bit deeper into what Habitat for Humanity is. So what is Habitat for Humanity? It's a nonprofit organization that works to provide affordable housing for people in need, right? So it was founded in 1976 by Millard and Linda Fuller in Americus, Georgia, USA. Their mission statement is to seek to put God's love into action, where Habitat for Humanity brings people together to build homes, communities, and hope. I also know a few people who have went through Habitat for Humanities who had low credit scores, where they were able to work with them and they were able to actually go into home ownership projects, and they were able to just go ahead and kind of move out of the category of homelessness. So how does this organization work? Donations can range from small individual contributions, larger donations from corporations and philanthropic organizations, and even volunteer labor and donations of materials. This group helps get housing for those unable to help themselves. They play a vital role in improving communities and empowering individuals and families through safe and affordable housing solutions. If we can save all questions for the end, guys, you know, we want to try to get through this. Today, Habitat for Humanity has since grown into a global nonprofit organization operating in over 70 countries and helping millions of people achieve safe and decent housing. The economic impact of Humanities is the lack of affordable housing has a significant economic impact on communities. Families that spend a large portion of their income on housing are left with less money for other necessities like food, medical care, and education. As I was saying before, this can trap families in a cycle of misery, making it difficult for them to improve their circumstances. So, of course, we can kind of recollect with those families who may be spending most of their checks on rent, housing, and things like that, you know what I'm saying, to where when you need to take your sick child to the doctor and the insurance won't cover it, or you got gas that day to get to work to make money for the next day, you know, sometimes it's not easy to do that when you're spending most of your money on housing. So charities like Habitat for Humanity is great for that. So the social stability aspect is that stable housing is important for social stability. When families have secure homes, they are more likely to be active and engaged members of their communities. This can lead to stronger, more resilient neighborhoods where people support one another and work together to solve common problems. Addressing inequality. The housing crisis affects those with disadvantages, communities, including low-income families, people of color, and those with disabilities. By addressing the need for affordable housing, we can help reduce these inequalities and create more inclusive communities where everyone can succeed. So substandard living conditions is also an aspect that Habitat for Humanity does contribute to. Many families are forced to live in overcrowded or unsafe environments. These conditions can lead to severe health problems, including respiratory issues from mold and mildew, and mental health challenges due to stress of living in poor housing. Children in these environments also struggle academically as they lack quiet, safe places to study and sleep. Also, overcrowded areas are also fire hazards and things like that, where I've also learned where, people who may not be able to reach the fire escape, things like that, that is very a tragic situation that is actually very common in a lot of different places. So Habitat for Humanity does provide safer housing for people with bigger house sizes. So some solutions to the issues with credit, affording housing, and things like that Habitat for Humanity does provide includes during the campaign, local habitat organizations achieved 300 plus policy changes, enabling 6.6 million people to have access to more affordable housing. And housing costs have also risen, where low-income families have faced increased risk of being squeezed out of the rental and home ownership market. And that's to supplement static or declining federal housing organizations. So like when people are getting, housing through the government or through SNAP, things like that.
Like shelters.
It pushes, things like that. It sometimes reduces the funding towards people who actually can afford housing. So the next year the market might go up in percentage where they won't be able to afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So they get squeezed out where people who are getting these benefits are being squeezed in.
Mm-hmm.
Local and state habitat organizations have engaged in advocacy initiatives using various strategies to persuade the governments to raise new housing resources, increasing the supply and preservation of affordable homes. As housing costs have risen, low-income families have faced increased risk of being squeezed out of the rental and home ownership market to supplement static or declining federal housing resources. Local and state habitat organizations have engaged in advocacy initiatives using various strategies to persuade their governments to raise new housing resources. So equitably increasing access to credit is pretty much increasing equality in credit. It's critical to buy a home, and home ownership is the primary source of wealth for most Americans. So it's difficult for most households to access these benefits, and minorities are lower income applicants often don't have access to credit at all, or have access to only predatory credit, which like Kanan was saying earlier, he doesn't even know his credit score, and that is actually a more common case than most people know. So if you don't even know what your credit score is, it's kind of hard to make a blueprint of your future and to see what you can do possibly, if you don't even know the beginning of credit. We just want to kind of acknowledge what Habitat for Humanities has done for the community and many other communities in basically allowing housing opportunities and credit opportunities to be able to afford housing on your own. If you guys know anyone who could use this information, it would be awesome to pass it along, and I will be happy to email you guys the presentation if needed. Is there any questions or anything based off the presentation?
Where does the IRS come into play?
I am not very sure.
Because they don't have no solid foundation, yet they affect us in a negative way that affects us in things like our credit and things like that.
Right. So with that,
that don't make no sense. They don't have no solid foundation, yet they.
So IRS is basically the International Revenue Service. They kind of keep an eye on all revenue coming in and out of Americans' pockets. It is a monitored thing based off of the crime rate and things that can happen when federal, which is money, things come into play with everyday life. So with that being said, you kind of have to do a little bit more research into taxation rather than Habitat for Humanities and credit.
I did, but they're not legal.
What happens if I don't pay my taxes?
So if you don't pay your taxes, the IRS will do a sanction, and they will come in and basically do an audit on your taxes or the lack thereof. And with that being said, further legal action will be taken based off of your situation, because everybody's financial situation is different. So yes, you would need to get in contact with the IRS to kind of get a little bit more information on your specific case. All right. With that being said, if there are no more questions, I really appreciate everybody and their time and being able to lend me their ears to kind of talk about Habitat for Humanities. Alrighty, so you guys have a great day. I appreciate that.